I'm a big fan of Ancient Aliens. I've had very interesting experiences in my lifetime. All things paranormal, not just stuff that's in my head. I've had interesting out of body experiences. And if you meditate properly enough and long enough and focus correctly enough, you can activate your pineal gland. That is a real thing. It sounds like a bunch of white noise, and eventually you will hear voices because your brain is a transceiver. It's both a receiver and a transmitter. So that is also a story for another time, but I'm a big fan of David Wilcock. I watched Ancient Aliens from show one until, up until around Philip Coppens when he passed away. But I had been following David Wilcock for a long time since he was in Project Camelot with Carrie Cassidy. And I love David. He's a great person, but sometimes he says some things that are just incorrect. And there's another thing that will be said here that I also want to tackle, which this is all dietary and nutrition related. And as someone who spent most of his life in a wrestling ring and in the gym, busting his ass to the point of breaking his body into smithereens, I take nutrition pretty seriously for the most part. I'm not super militant. I'm not a bodybuilder like I once was. I may get back into it. We'll see. My body is very tired. When people say certain things that are just patently false, listen, I'm the biggest conspiracy guy on the planet. I've done a whole lot of digging and a whole lot of research on certain things, from anything to everything, really, since I got out of school. When I was in high school and I started having all my really serious paranormal experiences and very traumatic events that occurred, nothing made sense. At a certain point, just nothing made sense. I could sleep through class and still make A's. That was my first sign that something wasn't right in the schooling system. So I went and rediscovered so much about the world and the universe. Eventually, that's how I came across Project Camelot back in the disclose.tv days before they sucked. But yeah, I have always been a fan of David Wilcock. He's a smart man. He's a nice man. And I love all the science that he brings to the table. But when it comes to what you're about to hear, I have to call it out because it's false.
4 whistleblowers came forward from Archer Daniels Midland, and they said that they specifically designed wheat to be addictive, to take these T1, T2, T3, T4 hormones that your thyroid is supposed to take to give you energy. And there's a wheat protein in the wheat that they engineered called gliadin.
False.
And it plugs up your thyroid so you don't have any energy. And you just get fatter and fatter the more of this stuff you eat. It's
not correct.
Refined sugar.
Exactly.
It's high fructose corn syrup. It's monosodium glutamate, which they call spices, or they call natural flavor.
From the Chinese, MSG. Give them bread and games, as Marie Antoinette said, or one of them said. Give them bread and games.
Cigarettes, the whole darn thing. It's not tobacco. It's a paper made from 200 chemicals that they caramel color and shred it up. It's freaking crazy. They have deployed these weapon systems. Oatmeal is completely dangerous. You can't. False. You really shouldn't eat carbs at all.
Oh, they're poisoning us all, even through
carnivore,
you go to a shopping center. It's horrific what they do to people.
All of that is bullshit. 100% of that is bullshit. Number one, there are only 10 GMO crops in the United States, and wheat is not on that list. Number two, gliadin is a naturally occurring part of gluten. Gluten has 2 parts, glutenin and gliadin. And it's been that way all the way into the ancient grains, from einkorn and everything else up to the wheat that is in existence today. I don't know, don't care what whistleblowers you're talking to. That is a lie. Same goes with oatmeal. I eat oatmeal every other day. And I eat granola for breakfast most mornings. I'm not dying. I'm not sick. Matter of fact, my blood work is pristine. To sit here and tell people that wheat is addictive and then go on to explain a disease called celiac disease as if everyone has it. That's false. Completely and utterly false. Matter of fact, wheat today, it's not GMO, it's been crossbred to have certain properties. And I can prove the reality that today's wheat actually has less gliadin. That's out there. It's not that hard to find. But through crossbreeding, we've tweaked wheat, and most of it is just fine. It always has been just fine. They didn't engineer wheat to be addictive. Wheat isn't addictive. And carnivore, don't even get me started on that fucking stupidity, because that's all it really is. I went carnivore for almost 2 years just because I wanted to see, and it royally fucked me up. Ruined my intestines, caused me all sorts of complications, and I'm still recovering and trying to repair. And then I know all the zealots out there will say, oh, well, that's just your body detoxing. Duh. No. You know what your body does to detox? You got a liver and kidneys. Wow. Anything else that you want to detox out of you that would be legitimate, such as like benzene and all that kind of stuff, is called sulforaphane. Take it. Plenty of studies out there that will prove that. And fasting is not any better. Your body is constantly performing autophagy. So the carnivore and fasting zealots, the idiots like John Jaquish and Sean Baker, Paul Saladino, and all those people, hell, they're eating fruit and they're eating veggies behind the scenes. Guarantee it. Because it's not healthy. Carnivore is not healthy. It doesn't repair you. It doesn't kill cancer. It doesn't heal anything. It's just bullshit. And it's terrible for you. It's a terrible way to live. It will absolutely ruin your health. And really, there's no long-term studies on the carnivore diet. There's only anecdotal evidence. And this idea that because you're reducing inflammation, you're suddenly getting rid of all your diseases is false. Patently false. Cancers feed on different things. Like different cancers feed on different types of cells. Not every cancer feeds on sugar. That's just fallacy. Like breast cancer, that feeds on estrogen. It's an overproduction of estrogen. Wow, where's the sugar in there? Nowhere. Wheat isn't dangerous. And this is a very simple question. You can type in to Google. Those are the two main proteins, just like I was saying, gliadin and glutenin. So it's not something that they just modified into the wheat. See what I'm saying? Doesn't work that way. It's a naturally occurring protein in gluten. It's really simple. What he's claiming is not applicable. It's what they're wanting to do. It's what they're trying to do, but no one's letting it happen. Because if we were to sell GMO wheat to like Japan, we'd lose all their business. Japan would never let that happen. He's incorrect about what he's saying. It's fear mongering. And I have a problem with that. Gluten is not something that was just injected into wheat. Now, I'll rephrase that. That's what I was actually trying to say. It's a group of proteins, gliadin and glutenin. It's really that simple. So it's not something that was genetically modified in to make you fatter and sicker and addicted and all this other stuff, dude. Wheat is a choice to eat. Wheat is a plentiful grain. That's why we've eaten bread for thousands of years. His claim there is patently false in what he's trying to promote it as. That doesn't mean companies out here are not trying to create GMO wheat. But today's wheat, the team found that overall modern wheat varieties contain slightly less protein than old ones. The gluten content of the varieties has remained roughly constant over the decades. However, the composition of the gluten has changed. The proportions of gliadin decreased significantly over time, while the glutenin content increased significantly. Right here completely disproves what he's saying and proves what I'm saying. The claim that gliadin blocks your thyroid receptors is only really true if you have celiac. So, if you don't have celiac disease, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. If you don't have gluten sensitivity, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. While gliadin is chemically, structurally similar to thyroid hormone, I can guarantee you, if you're eating wheat and you're eating carbs, your thyroid's probably working just fine. You would know if it wasn't. If you had Hashimoto's, you'd know it. So you can't just sit here and tell people that they're fat because they're eating wheat. That's wrong. That's a lie. I've seen enough pictures of David Wilcock that I'm not going to go there. But one of the things about spiritual people, and I'm a spiritual person and this shit bugs me, is when they try to tell people how to live their life, when they try to tell people how to eat right, when they themselves are not even really healthy. They're healthy in a general sense, sure. They're living, they're breathing, they're having cellular function. That counts as living. That counts as being healthy. There is another portion in here that I just have to mention where the woman speaking, who is an Epstein survivor, she talks about, oh, they put cyanide in the vitamins. No. Cyanocobalamin just converts into methylcobalamin. Now, you can take either one. It doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're going to just take the direct path, then yeah, take methylcobalamin. But the amount of cyanide that is in cyanocobalamin is so absolutely minuscule, it's not even considered poison. The dosage makes the poison. If you eat apples, you're eating cyanide. You can't have sugar. You can't have carbs, but you got to eat fruit, guys. I've heard David Wilcock say that so many times. You can't have it both ways. You can't tell people not to eat carbs and then go eat fruit. That's a carb. Wow. Now, if you want to talk about processed carbs, like Twinkies and shit, okay, I can slightly get behind that. But everything really does come down to what you put in your body and how you take care of your body metabolically. Are you in the gym? Are you at least going for daily walks for 20 to 30 minutes? Something that gets your heart rate up. As I've proven, what he just said there is not true. Eat wheat, eat oats, eat oatmeal. It's fine. If you are gluten sensitive, buy gluten free. If you are not gluten sensitive, don't waste the extra money, but do your best to eat organic. Because glyphosate sucks and Monsanto sucks.